This is Scott from Scalpel CNE Trader, and this is the 6 setup SI indicator setup step rows. Please take a second to read this disclaimer. Okay, so the step rows is the 6 setup wonder of the world, which I also humorously refer to as the unicorn or Sasquatch, as it is very seldom seen. The setup consists of buy stops and buy ice, or sell stops and sell ice in the same direction, basically at the same time as well. Common sense tells us that this type of scenario should lead to large continuation moves, and usually does. But as in the case of the broken double whammy and the broken step rows setups are telling the trader that something bigger is going on that trading day, and the opposing unexpected move out of the setup is usually a whopper. So again, those don't happen that often, but I've noticed the times that they do, the subsequent move is much bigger than what you would expect on the regular move. So, I mean, off of the regular step rows setup. So, it's an example of gold. You can see here you can see them in these sweeps as well. There was 376. There was even a little more here, and somebody came in and tried to sell the market. You can see the red bubbles and ran into a mouthful of buy ice. So you had, usually the stop runs aren't initiative buying, but then you had the buy ice as well. So all these sellers that got run over here and then tried to be aggressive selling were in trouble. And one of the main things you can look for using the sweeps indicator, we've talked about this in other videos, is looking for these sweeps out of the zone. That kind of tells you that it's go time. You had a little bit of selling here, but I mean, the rest of the stuff is all sweeps. So the other thing with the step rows, you may want to be aggressive. I don't usually take the ultra aggressive entry like we've talked about in numerous videos. I wait for it to get outside of an ATR. But regardless, if you take the ultra aggressive one, as soon as it breaks out of there, put your stop right below the zone, or you wait for the ATR and put your stop below the zone, an ATR below it. These have a much less tendency to retest the area, right? It makes sense with what's going on here. So all these examples, I don't think one of these that I'm showing you, the few actually that I do have, because it is a Sasquatch, seldom seen, they don't retest very often. So this one was broke out of the zone and then go on. This is 100 tick and counting move here. This one was Russell, same thing. You had buy stops. And then you can see right after that, someone tried to sell this aggressively with swipes, ran into buy ice as well. Launches out of here, never retest. Once again, this is one you could get in ultra aggressive, put your stop just below it, or ATR, either way. Either aggressive entry would have worked here, but this is another one that did not retest the zone. This is crude. This has actually just happened. I was happy to see another setup that I can post for these cores, because they're just so seldom seen. This is Friday, August 24th. Was it 24th or 25th? Whatever Friday was. Anyway, you had sell stops and sell ice, and you can see this led to a quick continuation move, and actually started to struggle a little up down here, when the buy ice started coming in. But this still was a quick 60-70 tick move out of here based on this step rows stop. And then actually the same day, this is Friday, so same thing. You see the buy stops here, 619, and then you see the swipes there, the sweeps, and then you can see that sellers got aggressive and then ran into almost 2,000 buy ice. This one, if you did enter aggressively, the ultra aggressive entry, you would have been stopped out, right? So this is up to you as a trader. If you get stopped out the first time, if you got in again, you were fine. If you wait for the ATR, then like I do, then I don't have to worry about that. I get in, and then my stop's down here, and I don't get whipsawed out of this thing. But this is an example of a ticket whipsaw. You would get whipsawed, and this actually did not get an ATR below here. The ATR was like 7.5 on Friday. It was pretty volatile. So this was a valid setup. You see the step rows, and it never got the ATR below, and it's still valid to go long on this. But once again, this is telling you the stop runs, by ice, and then you start to see them sweeping. It looks like they're offsides a little bit, sellers got aggressive, but then here come the sweeps again, and then that's where you can say, hey, all right, I'm gonna try this again if you got stopped out the first time, or you're just sitting here waiting for the ATR and more sweeps. Sellers tried, no go, and this thing just kept rolling. So this was a 20. I think it was like a 25-point move when all was said and done out of that step row zone that was here. And then this is an example of a delayed step rows. This happened probably 5 minutes after. You can see that the buy stops came in here. You can see them in the sweeps indicator, and you had 2,400 sweeps. That was this here. So 1,000 of those sweeps were stops, 1,057, but then there was another 1,500-ish that were sweeping the order book, right? And then as they tried to sell it a little later, ran into 700 buy ice. This is ES as well. So this is delayed, but here's just another example where this thing, once it got out of here, it never retested. So this, you'd have to be either the ultra aggressive entry would have worked here, or the ATR, but either way it did not retest. And this one didn't either. I don't believe this. Actually, this might have been. No, because ATR was like 7, so this one did not retest the zone either. So every example I'm showing you did not retest the zone. And then this is the only one I could find. I know there were a few more, I just couldn't find them. But this, all you need to know is this is a broken step rows that you can see the sell stops there. I don't have the values, but you can see it was over 150. And then you had sell ice. This is probably 300-400 sell ice, and just ripped out of here. And you can see this day. I didn't have the continuation of the day, but this was this day here. So that was right around 1915.5 to 50, right around about 7:30 my time. That's central. You can see that was right in here, and this thing just went up the rest of the day, right? So this is a good example of a broken step rows. So you would usually expect this to hold, move lower. If it doesn't hold, watch out, because the subsequent move the other way is usually a whopper. So that goes with the broken double whammy as well. So it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, heads up for that. But most of the time when you see this, it's going to continue, and it's probably not going to retest. So this is the sixth setup. Very powerful setup.